Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum seem too perfect to break up, from red carpet appearances to behind-the-scenes murmurs. 3 years later, Zoe is disengaged and speaking out. Instead of a scandal, she discloses something much more startling. Zoe reveals what destroyed her relationship with Channing in this narrative of love, distance, and emotional breakdown, making a stir. Not your usual breakup story. The untold story of Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum. Indeed, the truth is alarming, sparking how Blink twice started the fire. Before paparazzi photos, Met Gala splendor, or Instagram captions of admiration, a quiet, innovative decision was made. Zoe Kravitz began developing her directorial debut, Pussy Island, eventually renamed Blink twice, in 2017. The daring, multi-layered film requires a starring guy who could enchant and subtly tense the audience. Someone charismatic and unpredictable, who could fascinate and unsettle. Introducing Channing Tatum. It may have seemed odd at the time. Tatum, fresh off magic tricks and romantic comedies, wasn't what reviewers and audiences expected in Zoe Kravitz's dark, provocative film. But that's why she picked him. She saw beyond the six-pack headlines to a captivating performer who had been underrated his whole career. Under the glossy commercial success was range. In classic director manner, Zoe sought to tap that untapped well. That choice wasn't impulsive. It took hours of studying his previous works, examining his presence on camera, and wondering how his energy might fit into her warped world. That choice may have been motivated by anything else. An attraction, curiosity, or intrigue that goes unrecognized by professionals until hindsight turns it into foreshadowing. Definitely a casting choice, yet it also crossed paths. Two creatives with very different worldviews unexpectedly revolve around the same project. It was the first spark of something more intimate, but no one knew. In some respects, the story began writing itself before they started filming. Blink Twice was an established script by 2021. It began full production. Zoe and Channing collaborated for months. Extended meetings, notes, and intense location shooting. Creative entanglement that blurs boundaries. Zoe, always dedicated to her work, immersed herself into the film. Something else developed as the process progressed. Post-rehearsal conversations were excessive. Philosophy concerning identity, celebrity, and the peculiar lovely burden of being seen by the world arose from character motivation discussions. The bond grew freely and smoothly until it was unavoidable. They went beyond art and acting. Under the surface, something more intimate was beating. Next came the New York bike trip, which paparazzi and tabloids covered. Though neither scandalous or manufactured, it was something. Relaxation, familiarity, and proximity fans analyzed. Outsiders saw confirmation. Zoe and Channing just liked the day. Zoe later stated that Channing's comedy and emotional fluency attracted her, not his celebrity or attractiveness. He made her giggle, breaking her guard. They might spend hours discussing a film, challenging each other, and eliciting opinions. Such mental intimacy is rare. Hollywood relationships generally focus on attention rather than depth. Channing was unnerved by Zoe's harshness. He admired her clarity, insight, and resolve to play small. This intellectual chemistry was electric but not spectacular. They weren't rushing a big relationship. A silent link had formed between call sheets and creative breakthroughs. A workplace connection was progressively becoming something neither expected. Love in the spotlight, Hollywood power couple. Their intimate relationship became public quickly. Zoe and Channing were more than collaborators and friends by late 2021. They announced themselves as the new IT couple without a united statement. Their appearances said volumes. They shopped in Brooklyn like any relaxed couple. Classic Halloween followed. There they played taxi drivers, wearing couples' costumes with style and symbolism. It was fun, but also revealed a mutual love of cinema, irony, and subtle rebellion. They soon walked the Met Gala red carpet, Channing in a smart tux, and Zoe in a barely there metallic gown, looking like a power couple who didn't try. Not enough for the journalists, dissecting their street style, assess their body language. Story almost wrote itself. Dark, charismatic A-lister and quiet artist-director. Two seemingly unrelated Hollywood stars collide with ease. But public admiration is tough. The spotlight sticks to you. The love story fans project onto you, records every date, gaze, and eye contact. Zoe and Channing handled it beautifully, smiling, holding hands, and even having red carpet moments. But public romance is costly. Because while everyone is looking, how do you stay real? They glammed but were careful. Interviews were unclear. Affection was visible, but not performative. They didn't promote their connection. Just coexisting. The heat was on. It wasn't just romance anymore. They had to decide how much of themselves to give to the story. Honoring creativity in a partnership. The essence of Zoe and Channing's relationship wasn't their elegance or red carpet presence. They admired each other's minds. It was never a dazzling partnership based on convenience or industrial power. This was about two creatives seeing something precious in one other. Zoe saw more than Channing's talent. He was greatly misjudged, she thought. She boldly said she saw layers in him others missed. She mentioned his wit in interviews. More importantly, his curiosity and willingness to challenge himself beyond traditional responsibilities. He became her strongest supporter. He wrote touching letters, applauding Zoe's dedication during Blink Twice filming. He wrote one night that she had put everything she had into this picture and was proud to support her vision after 2 overnight shoots. They weren't hollow words. He literally supported her through a grueling creative process. Zoe found that emotional and practical presence rare. He wasn't only a lover. He was her actual accomplice, witnessing her ambition. But now things get difficult. Mutual respect can make a partnership seem invincible. You praise each other and defend each other from the world. You construct an almost unbreakable love-pride feedback loop until real life interferes. Because while being someone's muse or biggest fan is lovely, there are other components of a relationship that don't depend on appreciation. Long-term goals, everyday compatibility, and timetables. Their pedestals started to get too high. They were finding it harder to have grounding conversations. Messy, uncomfortable ones. And fractures were appearing in their once solid foundation. It looked wonderful from the outside. For a while, that illusion held. Love seemed unshakable at the engagement. By 2023, Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum were a phenomenon, not merely liked. Their relationship had an emotional energy that feels wonderful when everything falls into place. Blink Twice nearly finished. Their creative chemistry was still burning, and they appeared to be thriving from all angles. The engagement followed, not widely shared on social media. No ring paparazzi or proposal photos. It was subtle, personal, and announced carefully, like protecting something sacred. That somehow boosted its power. Zoe and Channing kept the actual stuff to themselves in a world preoccupied with oversharing. However, the engagement caused media frenzy. Suddenly, every piece speculated about a wedding date, and every red carpet appearance was evaluated for marriage. Were they picking venues? Is Vogue spreading? The attraction and pressure increased, but energy was moving behind the scenes. Channing publicly supported Zoe most. He kept showing up with poetry-like captions praising her directorial work, metaphorically and physically, during Blink Twice's final effort. Their expression on the LA premiere red carpet in August 2024 seemed to corroborate everything. This was real. even the most sincere love can't always overcome reality. While romantic, the engagement created expectations they weren't ready for. A deeper commitment may have been the start of divergence. Yes amplifies disparities, not solves them. Small but persistent fissures appeared beneath the smiles and shared successes. Their lives slowly drifted apart in two cities and destinies. A certain drift is silent. No yelling or drama, just peaceful decisions in separate areas. The initial signals of emotional distancing for Zoe and Channing weren't explosive, logistical. Zoe has always considered New York more than a city. This is her creative sanctuary, her identity's heartbeat, cacophony, filth, and pulse. It fuels her. She stated the city energizes her like nothing else. She creates, reflects, regenerates there. Channing, however, is from L.A. His career is based there. Most importantly, his daughter Everly resides there. Fatherhood isn't something he could or would compromise. His timetable, home base, and daily life revolve on that responsibility. They managed bi-coastal living for a while. Frequent flights, planned weekends, texts at weird hours, FaceTimes during long edits. The remedies only last so long before reality catches up. One thing is love. Making life sustainable together, that's different. Parenthood, another distinction rarely discussed, followed. In early 2024, Zoe told Esquire she didn't want kids. She was even asked whether she was sick. She didn't anticipate herself having children soon. For her, doing a picture like Blink Twice was personal. Already a loving father, Channing lived a different life. Initially, these variances weren't significant. They become a background chorus throughout time. A reminder that although two people may seem emotionally or creatively connected, their long-term requirements may differ. Sometimes separation comes slowly, unavoidably. Quiet goodbye. When the engagement failed, no turmoil marked the conclusion. No scandals, cheating, or harsh fallouts, just silence. In October 2024, it was announced. Both Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum ended their engagement. While casual observers found it sudden, many paying great attention saw the hints concealed between the lines. They attended events together, smiled on carpets, and backed Blink twice in the months before it. But a closer examination revealed a slight shift toward less touching, fewer candid encounters, and more planned appearances. According to sources, the couple made an amicable decision after realizing they were no longer compatible. This phrase kept popping up. They're at various life phases, sounding clean on paper, but underlying that tidy break is a harder-to-name sadness. Heartbreak from witnessing something good slowly crumble, not treachery. Two folks realized their dance beat had fallen out of tune without shouting or storming out. That ending hurts worse. Having no villain means no one to blame, just the gradual unraveling of something once wonderful. The world was still catching up, so Zoe would address questions after their somber parting. Zoe reveals the awful reality about their relationship. By early 2025, Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum's breakup noise had subsided. The headlines and social media conjecture had subsided, but stillness persisted. No Instagram captions, cryptic statements, or interviews provided closure. Zoe decided to reveal everything in February. She came forth with something more disarming than a scandal. Her Elle cover article revealed what transpired after the split for the first time. However, her revelation surprised everyone. There was no exciting confession or dark deception. Zoe gave a calm, thoughtful, and unsettlingly simple truth. She didn't attack Channing. She didn't turn their narrative into a warning about heartbreak or mistakes. Instead, she tenderly described their time together. She termed him talented and still lights up when people appreciate his Blink Twice performance. She boasted about their creative cooperation like an artist who had worked with someone she trusted. In all that warmth was a deeper insight, a soft but piercing awareness that love, no matter how sincere, doesn't always equal long-term compatibility. She stated, "Part of us works in movies, but not in real life." It was a subtle but significant unveiling, not just a clever metaphor. Zoe rewrote the story in one sentence. Behind the facade of two creatives sharing laughs, red carpets, and artistic goals, a perfect fit was unraveling. Not because of what happened, but who they were once the spotlight faded. She said Channing's big energy, once a comfort and inspiration, started to clash with her quiet, grounded cadence. Introspection and creative seclusion were hers, but momentum and openness were his. Though they initially connected, those contrasts began to tear their relationship apart. Zoe's discovery wasn't tabloid-worthy, but it challenged us deeper. That chemistry means permanence, and mutual love and respect are always enough. Admiration ensures alignment. Instead, she shared more humanity. A story of progress, clarity, and two individuals who didn't fail each other but just reached a moment where they couldn't continue forward together. That was the emotional twist. Not a dramatic breakup or betrayal, but the truth that even the best love stories can end, because they weren't right in the long run. Zoe gave honesty, not blame. She voiced an uncommon ending. Nothing explodes, yet everything changes. Kind that leaves you with insight, not scars. That may be the most shocking truth. When love fails. This split wasn't a scandal by then, not a dramatic betrayal or cautionary tale. Maybe that's why fans, followers, and Zoe felt it differently. Because what happens when no one is responsible? What happens when you deeply respect and possibly love someone, but quietly accept it doesn't work anymore? That was Zoe's emotional dilemma. She circled one word in her interviews after the split: thankfulness. Not sadness, wrath, or regret, but a mature, almost peaceful appreciation for what she and Channing had shared. One definitive rupture would have made it easier and possibly more soothing for the public. This ending wasn't like that. It was softer, slower, like a shadow that creeps up until you realize you've been standing in various lights. That understanding breaks hearts. When you adore someone so much and have established a life with them via projects, premieres, and intimate moments, you don't leave clean.